Welcome to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, presented by Worth Wealth Management, a weekly conversation with area leaders about how to persevere during uncertain times. Now here's your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi, everyone, and welcome again to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times. It's good to have you listening along. And, if you've been around Hays for any amount of time, you've heard about it's very fun and it's popular. It's the annual Trick or Treat So Others Can Eat campaign.
Mm-hmm.
But our show deals with challenging times, and so often we hear about the bad students across the country and in schools and negative news. Well, this is so cool because Trick or Treat for Others Can Eat is actually an opportunity for students to lead and do something and help others in the community. And our guest today is a lady who leads that up in high school from Hays High School, Shana Pro, and she oversees the DECA program. And they once again conduct this whole event. So, Shana, welcome to our program.
Well, thank you for having me.
One of the things, and I mentioned that going in, is that a lot of times we see negative stuff, we hear negative stuff. In fact, you and I were talking about some of those things that just come up in school anymore. And to be safe, everybody has to do all this stuff. This program is really an extension of good that goes on in our community in so many ways. Tell me a little bit more about the program, and then we'll talk about maybe some of the history involved with that. But what is Trick or Treat So Others Can Eat? What is that, in case somebody doesn't know?
Sure. So Trick or Treat So Others Can Eat is a community-wide food collection drive that benefits the Community Assistance Center. And the great thing about it is it's not just my DECA students, it's students and young adults and community members that encompass all of Hays. So we have Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts and Fort Hays College students and the middle school, and TMP participates, as well as the various organizations within the walls of Hays High School. And without the assistance of, the 26 other groups outside of this school, we could not carry on and conduct and collect the amount of food that we do in one evening. So it is truly a community-wide event. I just happen to be the one, and my DECA students happen to be the one that just organizes it. So,
and you also work with DECA. What is DECA?
So DECA is an association of marketing students, and it's actually an international organization. Globally, there's over 250,000 members within the DECA program, and we happen to be part of the high school segment of DECA. And it gives students who are interested in marketing, entrepreneurship, hospitality, tourism, management, an opportunity to take what they learn in the classroom setting and apply it in the real world through a variety of different projects that they may find interesting. The cool thing about it is those students get to go on and compete at the state level and then possibly at the international level if they qualify.
So would one of their marketing campaigns be something like the Trick or Treat for Others Can Eat? Is that part of that whole program?
Well, part of what we do with Trick or Treat So Others Can Eat is to emphasize the pillar of DECA that has to do with community involvement. DECA realizes that to be an active member and a productive member of our societies, we need to have ownership within our own communities. And this is one way in which we do this at Hays High School, is to promote the Trick or Treat So Others Can Eat. It's a one-night event. It's very quick. It's a few hours, but it's to ingrain in students the importance of being involved in your community. If I did have a student that wanted to take it on as one of their written projects, they could, but many of my students have other ventures that they would like to pursue.
So I like talking about kids doing this.
Yeah.
You lead the program. You have to be, I guess, encouraged, like I am listening to this, about the students and what they're out doing. And we'll come back and talk about the program. But when you look at DECA and what that does, it allows kids to actually take, like say, what they learn and turn it into a real skill of marketing. It's not just going to school. It's a real skill that they can take through their life forever.
And I always tell my students, even if they don't go on to be a business major or a marketing major, what they learn as far as the skills will apply in every area of their life. And it just, to me, gives them a leg up when they leave the walls of Hayes High School amongst their peers. They have the skills of learning how to talk to an adult, learning how to conduct a meeting, learning about the importance of being involved in a community, and as well as the academic preparedness that we try to teach and instill in our students.
Well, it's exciting to see that happen, and it turns out they get to lead the group for Trick or Treat So Others Can Eat. Now that's coming up. There's one night you said, boy, this is it's a big night. Everybody is out doing this. It's not Halloween, so it's not on Halloween night. When is this coming up?
So actually the date this year is Tuesday, October 15th, and groups will be out collecting in the window from 6 to 9 p.m. So we ask community members to lay their food out on the porch. It makes pickup so much faster. Plus, we don't have to bother people if they're watching their favorite show, whatever that may be, that evening. And so it makes it real easy for students to just come through and adults to come through, scoop the food up, and get on their merry way to the next house. So the origin of that name actually started in 1985 when a young lady within the marketing program, when it was out at the Votech, she actually created the Trick or Treat So Others Can Eat as her community service project. And she actually did it around a few days, I think, around Trick or Treat. I remember collecting it when I was in high school many moons ago. And so we just left the name, even though we have to move it up because we don't want little ones out in the dark. So we always try to make sure we get the food drive done before the time change. And so we just stuck with that name because it's been in existence since 1985. And we tried changing the name a couple of times and we just didn't have as good a response. Rebranding is a thing and it takes a while for a new brand to catch on and sometimes it doesn't work. So we went back to Trick or Treat So Others Can Eat, even though it's not on Halloween anymore or near Halloween. But we just found that people recognize that name, and hopefully by now it's starting to get ingrained in people's brains as to what's going to happen on Trick or Treat So Others Can Eat.
So what food can you put out there? I assume you don't want to put anything that would spoil while it's outside, but what are you looking for that helps with the families where this food is going to be going?
So non-perishable food items such as canned foods, canned meats, boxed meals like Hamburger Helper or pancake mixes or things like that. Those are great. Cash is always a needed donation as well because cash can buy those fresh items, eggs, milk, fruits and vegetables that can be picked up at the center also.
So you just leave a bunch of cash out on your front end. How's that? How does that work, Shana?
Usually the people who don't leave items out are students and adults have been instructed, go ahead and knock on that door if you feel free. And most of the time, that's when all those cash donations are collected, or individuals can drop off cash or checks at the Community Assistance Center at 12th and Oak between the hours of 8 and noon on the weekdays.
Okay. And so just put on the envelope, Trick or Treat So Others Can Eat, and do that. And what a great idea. And when kids are out there, are they wearing a special badge or something that identify them as a student or somebody a part of this process?
So every member of every organization will be given a Trick or Treat So Others Can Eat name badge. And typically they identify the group that they're with if they don't feel comfortable because of privacy, putting names of small children on badges. And so we encourage everyone who is out collecting to wear that name badge as an identifier in case someone comes up to your door and knocks on it and asks for a donation of food or cash, to make sure that they are wearing their name badges. It just makes identification so much easier.
So this is coming up a couple of weeks on the 15th, gives you a chance to think about what you have and what you can maybe pick up at the store. So just pick up a couple extra items to set out on your front porch. These items go to the Community Assistance Center, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Let's take a quick break, Shana, and we'll come back and talk about the Community Assistance Center because this food goes to people who need it. And while I have plenty to eat, it doesn't mean everybody in our community does. And so we'll talk about that. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. We're talking with Shana Pro, who's with Trick or Treat So Others Can Eat. Back after this.
Since 1776, the United States of America continues to stand tall. It's been tested before, many times. Through grit and the ability to move forward, we create better tomorrows. We help our clients live their best lives to and through retirement. We make it easier. Thank you, Kansas. Worth Wealth Management, enhancing lives and strengthening families.
Welcome back to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times. Is brought to you by Worth Wealth Management. Our guest is Shana Pro, and Shana's up at the high school while we're talking. She had to break away from class. I'm sure there's going to be a bell that rings at some point, and kids will start rushing through her place. But she has a job with DECA, leading the DECA team over there, and also the Trick or Treat So Others Can Eat. And the food that's collected through this program goes to the Community Assistance Center. And how did you choose the Community Assistance Center, and give us a little bit of background there? So when people give the food, they know it's going to the right place.
Correct. So we've had a long-standing partnership with the Community Assistance Center since 1985. And the history of the Community Assistance Center is very interesting. It was started by a lady who worked for, at that time, SRS, and she determined, she was a social worker, and she saw the need for those that maybe don't qualify for income assistance, but yet couldn't quite make it to the end of the month, and their pantries would run low. And so she started this food collection with us and the Community Assistance Center itself, and it has evolved over time. And now her daughter is actually running the Community Assistance Center. But when I explain it to my students, I always share the stories about, sometimes it's for the single mom who maybe her car broke down, and so she has to make a decision about, do I get my car repaired this month so I can continue to get my kids to school and go to work, or do I go buy groceries? And so it's not always you're down and out, but maybe it's they had a hiccup in their finances over the month, or maybe they're between jobs, or maybe it's a family that had an unexpected emergency that they needed to allocate funds towards. So it provides people a chance to go shop free of charge for food that they may need to sustain them until they can get back on their feet. Or, maybe they just need that extra help during that month.
Well, Shana, thanks for leading our kids. And if for some reason you put your food out and it doesn't get collected, I think you can take it down to the Community Assistance Center, right?
Absolutely. Or they can contact me at Hayes High School, 623-2600. And I would be glad to swing by or send a student out to pick it up. Because I know sometimes maybe lights didn't get turned on, or maybe a house got missed or something. And that happens because, we're trying to organize a community effort, and sometimes those things occur. But we would be more than happy to pick up that food. Or, like I said, drop it off at 12th and Oak, the Community Assistance Center. They're always willing to take your food.
Well, I think they'll make good use of it, and just put a note on it for the Trick or Treats for Others So Others Can Eat program, and they'll take, same way with a check. If you take it down there to 12th and Oak, they'll do the same thing down there. Shana, what surprises you about the kids today? We hear so much negative sometimes. What surprised you about the kids?
I sometimes think that kids haven't changed. It's our societal expectations of them have. And what's so amazing and fun for me is when I get to see kids in their elements. I think there's good in every student. Sometimes we just have to put them in the right position to let that shine. And so I am just amazed that kids are always eager to help. I really, really believe that. I think that they are deep down, they have good hearts and they want to participate in the community. They want to be an active member. Sometimes they just need that gentle prodding to do so, whether it be, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Trick or Treat, JAG-K, the different organizations that we have within our school systems. I think deep down kids they're good. We just need to give them that opportunity to shine.
Well, you're doing just that. And how many will be involved across? What's the total kid count you're going to have, including all the external, internal, and other kids out here?
We have 26 organizations participating. Some of them have 30 plus members. Some have 10. So given
several hundred then.
Yeah,
several hundred,
yes,
at least.
Probably so. Yeah, at least.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. All right. Well, that's coming up. This whole event's coming up on October 15th. Hard to believe it's already fall. Hard to believe October is just around the corner. But if you get your food, start thinking about that. And on the 15th, 6 to 9 p.m., put it out on your front deck and or front porch, and kids will pick it up. If you want to get a check, get that ready to go. And you can also take that down if you want to the Community Assistance Center. And Shana, thanks so much. They can reach you at the high school, right? What's the best way to do that?
The phone number 623-2600, and the ladies in the front office will direct your phone call to me, and I can visit with you if I need to make arrangements to come pick up food or cash or whatever you want to donate.
Well, sounds like it's a great project for our community. Thanks for being a leader of the DECA program over there, and thanks for taking care of our kids.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me.
Shana Breaux is our guest today on Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times. It's always fun to talk about kids in our community and what they're doing. This is a great example of good that takes place in our community. Thanks for listening to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times. It's brought to you by Worth Wealth Management, where you can live with confidence. I'm Gary Shorman.
Thanks for joining us for Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, presented by Worth Wealth Management. Join us right here next week for another episode with host Gary Shorman. Until then, remember to move forward ever, backward never.